Hello, hello, hello. Come on in, come on in. Come on in, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Come on in and hit those hearts and share. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Come on in. Hello. Hello to everyone. Hello, hello. Hello, Lady PNC. Hello. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Come on in and hit those hearts and, of course, share. Of course, share. Come on in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Come on in and share and hit those hearts. We have a topic tonight that I think is going to really push us and really challenge us on tonight as leaders. So I want as many of you to share tonight's scope as you can. Get those pads, get those pens in your hand as well. So come on in. We're gonna give everybody a few seconds to hit hearts and to share, and then to get on tonight. I hope everyone had a great day. We had some beautiful weather on today. Yesterday ended up turning out to be a wonderful day, even though we had some rain yesterday morning, but it turned out to be a wonderful day, and then today was just a beautiful day. If you're joining in, if those of you who shared, and if you're joining in because someone invited you, please let us know that this is your first time on LeaderScope, and let us know where you're coming in from. But we definitely want to recognize you. So if you're first time on LeaderScope, let us know that you're first time and where you're coming in from. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. So excited that you're with us on tonight. First time. Thank you. Where you coming in from? From Atlanta. From Atlanta. Thank you. Thank you. First time I'm on my way all the way from Atlanta. Thank you. Thank you. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. All right. From Jacksonville. From Jacksonville. Thank you. Thank you for being on tonight. Thank you for being on tonight. So glad to have you on LeaderScope. Wonderful. Those of you who are you're here on the first, you're in on the first time, I'm going to ask that you would also share tonight. You're here on the first time. I'm going to ask that you would also share, join in with our leaders on tonight and share on tonight. Trust me, you will be enlightened, as well as those who follow you will benefit from it tonight. I do see a lot of individuals who are joining for the first time, so definitely want to recognize you on tonight. We're going to get started, but I definitely want you to continue to hit those hearts, as well as continue to share as we move throughout the scope on tonight. Tonight I want to talk about who's on your bus. Who's on your bus? And of course, perhaps we've all heard that before. We probably have heard about having a lot of people on our bus. As leaders, we put a lot of people on our bus. And I like to get straight to the point. I like to get straight to the point when we talk about our leadership. I want to challenge you tonight as leaders. And I want you to hear what I'm getting ready to say right now. Having a lot of people, and please write this down. If you have paper and you have pen, please write this down. Having a lot of people on your bus do not make you effective as a leader. Having a lot of people on your bus doesn't make you an effective leader. See, Some people believe that the more people I have makes me a great leader. That's not the case. That's not the case. So don't think that you got to have a whole lot of people to make you an effective leader. For a matter of fact, the more people you have, the more ineffective as a leader you can be. Because if you're not equipped to manage a lot of people, you would be ineffective. And for some reason, as leaders, we believe that, if I have a lot of people, and if I can show people that I have this huge team around me, I can really say that I'm this great leader. No, that's not the case. And I've heard people brag, and I've heard people boast about the number of people that they have around them. Jesus got a lot of work done with 12 men. 12 men. He got a lot of work done with 12. And a lot of times, even out of that 12, he had a more intimate circle of 3, Peter, James, and John. So it's not a matter of having a large team. You want a team that's manageable, that you can manage, that you can share, that you can pour into. You want a team that is at a size that can really get your DNA as a leader. That can really get your DNA as a leader. So that's the first thing. When you talk about putting people on your bus, you need to determine how big a bus you want to have. You want to determine how big a bus you want to have. Some of, and don't take this the wrong way, but I'm going to say it. Some of you are not designed, or some of you are not created to have a double deck bus. Some of you are not designed to have a 36 passenger bus. Some of you may only be designed to have a 12-seat bus, a short bus. And that's okay. That's really, really okay. Be comfortable if you have a short bus. I can remember growing up, and it was really rude, and it was really crude when we were growing up, that the short bus would come around our neighborhood to pick up certain kids. And our response to that short bus, now that I'm older and wiser, I understand that in a lot of cases, I need that short bus, because the short bus was more manageable. I had the privilege of riding a larger bus at times, and I can remember that bus driver sometimes responding as if they needed to, they were on the verge of pulling over and just screaming and hollering. So it's not the size of the bus that you need to be concerned about. You may need to look at who you are and what you're able to manage. So know what size bus you need. But then on top of that, when you know the bus that you're able to manage, you don't want to just get everybody on the bus and then just sit them anywhere. So it's not a matter of how many people you have on your bus and how big your bus is that make you an effective leader. But watch this. Once you get them on the bus, do you know where to assign them their seats? Where to assign them? See, we have the tendency not to assess as leaders the skill sets of the people that's on our teams or that's on our bus. As a leader, you ought to be able to assess the skills and the talents of everyone that's on your bus. And when you assess them, when you assess their skills and their talents, when you assess their abilities, then you assign them to the right seat. Some people cause chaos on your bus because they're not in the right seat. Some people cause chaos because they're not in the right seat. And you need to make sure that you're putting people in the right seat. That's what's so important. As leaders, we're burning people out. We're burning them out. We're causing chaos. We're causing confusion because we don't have people in the right seat on the bus. And it's not their fault. It's our fault. And we gotta assess that. We gotta take some responsibility. We have to take responsibility to that. That's not their fault. That's our assignment. That is really our assignment. As leaders, our assignment is to do the assessments. Our assignment is to do the assignments, to assign them to their places. And when we assign them to, listen, people will flourish in their assignments when they're put in the right environment, when they're put in the right assignment. My father had a green thumb. My father could grow a plant, and he knew how to do it. He knew just how to water it, how to put the right fertilizer in it. And when I moved in my first apartment, and I wanted to have certain plants and greenery in my apartment. I never forget. I went to Home Depot and I brought this nice plant and I put it in the corner. And I made sure I watered it, and I thought that the thing was gonna grow. And then all of a sudden it started dying, the leaves started falling off. And for the life of me, I could not understand why this plant was dying. So one day my dad came over and I asked my dad, I said, I was doing everything right. I asked the salesperson at Home Depot, how often should you water? And they told me, this is one of the plants that, you water just a few times a week. And, it's kind of low maintenance. I wanted a low maintenance plant because of my schedule. So my dad said, well, that may be true. But here's the problem, son. You don't have it in the right location. I said, what do you mean? He said, even though you may be watering it right, it's not getting enough sunlight. He says, plants have to receive the proper amount. Some plants have to receive the proper amount of sunlight so it can grow. And for us, when we have leaders, we may give them, water. We may give them certain things that they need to grow, but we may not give them everything. We may have them out of position. So what happened was I went to Home Depot. I purchased the same plant. I watered it the same way, but this time I relocated it. I put it closer to the window to make sure it was getting the proper lighting. And guess what? I couldn't stop the plant from growing. It grew and it grew and it grew. And if you have leaders that's not growing, listen, you can train them, you can nurture them as often as you want to. But if you do not have them in the right seat on that bus, where they're getting enough sunlight, then guess what? Eventually, they would die. They would die. So you got to make sure that you not only are you nurturing them, but you got to always make sure that you have them on the right seat. And this is so important. So the assessment is this: who's on your bus? And when you know who's on your bus, are they in the right seat? That's what's so important. Because most buses, two, based on the size of the individual, two people can sit in a seat. And because of that, the two people sitting together, are they connecting together to make vision happen? Are they linked together? See, it does no good to have two people sitting in the same seat and they can't connect. Their gifts are not connected. That's like taking two magnets and you put them on opposite ends and they never come together. But if you take the two magnets and you flip on the other side, then what happens? They come together. It's the same magnet, but one side, they come together. The other side, they won't come together. The force won't meet. You got to make sure as a leader that you're putting your team together on the right side so they can meet together and they can work together to accomplish vision. So here's the question. Who's on your bus? And what seat are they in? And who's sitting next to them? Don't sit someone in a seat that has totally sold out and submitted with loyalty and commitment and consistency, and you sit them next to someone that is not loyal, have no commitment, and no consistency. They will not get the work done together. You got to put that person sometimes off the bus. There may not be a seat for that person. But the ones who are loyal, committed, and bring consistency, you sit them next to everyone, or you sit them next to the person that brings the same skills, and the person who is loyal and committed and consistent next to the same type of person. And I promise you, you're going to get the work done. You're going to be able to execute vision. You're going to be able to maintain standard. consistency will be achieved, commitment will increase, and loyalty will be embedded in the hearts and the minds of your team. So again, who's on your bus? I hope this was helpful tonight, my leadership friends, because you have to be able to make that assessment. You got to be able to make that assessment. You got to be able to look at it, make that assessment. So, thank you so much. Iron sharpens iron, not wood. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Q&A. Any questions tonight? Any questions pertaining to this topic tonight? Any questions? Any questions? Well, I'm glad this was just for you. I'm glad this was for you. Any questions pertaining to the topic tonight? Any questions? All right. No questions tonight. Okay. As always, hit those hearts, tap that screen, give me some hearts, and then go ahead on and type in, I'm a friend of leadership. I'm a friend of leadership. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There you go. There you go. Thank you so much, Lady PNC. What happens when you meet resistance to necessary movement? What happens when you meet resistance? When you meet that resistance, you are the leader. You are the leader. You got to always remember that you are the leader. So when there is resistance, just like I said, if you turn two magnets over and you get that resistance from those two magnets, you have to make a decision. The most important thing is making vision happen. So when you meet that resistance, you have to evaluate that individual. You have to evaluate their work. Then you have to make a decision. Are they right for the team? And once you make that decision and assess them, then you have to be able to decide whether you're going to keep them on that bus or you're going to put them off that bus. Now, if there is a place for them on the bus, then you put them in the right place. Sometimes the resistance may be because their skill set is not where they are needed on the bus. So they're resisting where we have them. But as the leader, do not be afraid to make that decision that they may need to be on someone else's bus. All right. All right. Any more questions? Any more questions? That was a good question because you will. What if you have someone who is very aggressive? Very aggressive in terms of what? Let me ask you that. Very aggressive in terms of what? Define what they are being aggressive to. Yeah, let's have a little dialogue with that one a little more for everyone. What are they being aggressive to? That's a good question. With attitude, what? I think I do have an answer, but I want to make sure. I want to make sure for dialogue purposes as well as Q&A. So, in every area, okay, in every area, here is the truth. Here's the truth. The leader drives vision. The leader drives vision. Okay, the leader drives vision. So let's keep in mind that we're all on the bus together. The leader is driving the bus. The leader is driving the bus. Okay, the leader is driving the bus. So, you may have somebody on the bus that is going to constantly ask, are we there yet? 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 But the leader is driving the bus. Now you do need individuals on the bus who can be cheerleaders, who can be champions, that is going to challenge everyone to make sure we stay focused. Now, persons with an aggressive attitude, you can really use them for your benefit. You just got to channel that energy that they come with. You got to channel that. So a lot of times what you want to do is you want to sit down with that individual and you want to use some positive reinforcement. But rude also. Okay. Same thing. If they're rude, sit down with them. Sit down with them. Use positive reinforcement. Hey, listen. Absolutely love your energy. I love the fact that that you really want to be aggressive and want to move us forward. But we have to do it with the spirit that is not that does not contaminate vision and does not hurt and wound people. But we can really use your energy in a very positive way. And reshape and redesign their attitude and how aggressive they are. And again, it can really work for you if you can rechannel and redirect that energy. Now, if that does not work, then there is a times where you have to sit them down and get them off the bus. Because you do not need them to hurt and wound everybody, and you don't need them to become a person of contamination to everyone on the team. All right, but the leader has to drive that bus. All right. Okay. Do you put them back on the bus? You can put them back on the bus if you feel like they are prepared to be on the bus, back on the bus. If not, then no, I wouldn't, because you don't need to contaminate. Leadership and a leadership team do not need to be contaminated. You need pure leaders. Pure leaders is going to drive the direction of the organization. They drive the direction of the organization. They drive the culture of the organization. They drive the spirit of the organization. That's it. They drive it. So you cannot have contaminated leaders, and you cannot have anyone who will contaminate leadership. Period. That's why even as leaders, we have to always do self-evaluation within our own selves to make sure that we're not contaminated. And then we have to make sure we don't get contaminated. That's why we don't need to be in certain conversations. That's why we don't need to be in certain environments, because we're on a bus too. You got to always remember, we're on a bus. As much as we're putting people on a bus, we're on a bus as well. So we have to always make sure of that. All right. Okay. That was great. Great Q&A. Any more questions? Please just direct them to my Facebook page, Cotton and Company Facebook page, and I will address those questions there. Or if you want to sit down and understand how to handle some other situations that's pertaining to this topic or any other topic, that can be done through some of my coaching time with you. Because I do understand on LeaderScope, I try to keep it to a very minimum time frame, and I try to stick to the topic. All right. But again, I am always open to you as individuals one-on-one. And I always want to be able to make myself available outside of LeaderScope. So again, give me some hearts. Type in "I'm a friend of leadership." On the screen is Cotton and Company's Facebook, where you can find the Facebook, and the website address is cottonandcompanylg.org. You can go there if you want to sit down with me 101 for coaching. And for those of you who were visiting with us on tonight, you are a friend of leadership. Thank you for joining us. We're here every night, every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all so much for joining. God bless you. I believe in you. We are friends of leadership.